Mic check, 1, 2, 3. Mic check, 1, 2, 3. All right, a little staticky, but I think we'll be okay. Let me check my volume here real quick. Yeah. All right, it's gonna be running a little hot, so such as it is. Let's see. I'm gonna walk through my intro spiel here, and then we will dive into the heart of fun. All right, so hey, my name's Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games supplement as PDFs that I publish online. Currently, I'm focusing my efforts in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. There are a slew of options that I've already published as PDFs on the DMsGuild.com. There's a slew of links in the description down below that leads to the various books that I've created and published online. Here you can see the Color Mana Spell Point. Color Mana Spell Points. These books were all published as options for color mana or other spell point variant rules that is kind of the groundwork for doing the Martial Powers project that we're working on right now. So if you were to click on any of those links, if you're on a desktop or a tablet, it will take you to the product page, and underneath the cover photo like this, it would have a link that says full preview. If you were on a mobile phone, instead there'll be an eye icon on the right-hand side of the screen. Whether you click the eye icon or the full preview link, either one will throw up in a PDF. These are all 100% free preview. You can read them through cover to cover. There's about 150 different illustrations amongst the products, the different books that are already listed in the description down below. So if you're an art enthusiast, be welcome to thumb through them to see the kind of work that I produce. If you are a D&D or, in this instance, Magic the Gathering enthusiast, be welcome to check out the mechanics I present for alternates to the Dungeon Master's Guide spell points, alternates to the spell slot system in the Player's Handbook that works just as well with key and generic spell points as it does with color mana or elemental mana, such as earth, air, fire, and water bending, and using a mana resource to fuel those different elemental powers, which is expressed in the Martial Powers project that we are currently working on. So having said all of that spew, I just posted that I'm live on Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter to find out when I'm live in the future at Phil Kearney, FILKEARNEY, as in my title down below. Best way to support the channel beyond that is to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon to help propel more awareness of the work that we're doing and have more people show up and have fun with us. So I appreciate your help. I appreciate your presence. And I hope you have fun with what we're doing. So what are we doing? This is the Martial Powers Project. We're on, God, what episode is this? This is episode 60. So we've been doing this for a little bit more than a year now. Basically building the basic strata and scaffolding for an alternate magic system that is available to martial classes, not full casting spellcasters. We've done multiple sessions on walking through on how these mechanics work, how multi-classing works together, what the power die is and what that represents at different levels, known powers, the difference between a half-casting hybrid class versus a full martial fighter, barbarian, rogue type as opposed to a monk, and the current 5e version of Warlock, which has the short rest key or pack magic mechanic, scaling up from level 1 to 20. I'm running an 18th level game right now that we're using martial powers in using these mechanics. We had previously had only a single subclass access martial powers for the barbarian, the fighter, and the rogue. But as we continue, as the project continues, it became obvious that we could have just a general scaffold for the ranger and the paladin, basically offer powers instead of spell casting. So if you don't want to learn a spell, but you want to have different types of get the hell out of here. No one gives a fuck about your AI. Fuck off. Right, originally it was an alternate magic system that a half-casting spellcaster like a ranger or paladin could learn powers instead of spells. Then it expanded out into, well, all monks could theoretically be half-casting classes using this, and thus and thus we born the Elemental Key book that's in the Color Magic Spell Point bundle that's linked down below. And then it continued to expand. We have Knights and Tricksters, which is in the bundle down below, offering color mana options for rogues and fighters that use mana. But then we created the separate scaffolding that operates completely independently as a standalone clip-on resource for any class that isn't already a full spellcaster. So we've been decoupling the power mechanics from the subclasses for barbarians, fighters, and rogues, and this will be our third week in doing so. So we're going to look at the fighter specifically, and the first subclass that goes along with that, which is, I'm going to pull it down here into a separate tab, I think. That's probably the best way to go. Is the Arcane Archer. So the Arcane Archer is interesting because it comes with its own kit of optional features, kind of like the Battle Master does, kind of like Eldritch Knight does, but very specific in scope, and that you're able to magically create different types of ammunition that can essentially, when you fire the arrow, you can perform a strike with it. So I'm going to look at the mechanics. We're going to, let's see, we want to hang out here in the fighter section. Rogues, fighters. Here we go. This will be our first modified archetype. Features no changes. So blanket. Let's go to the barbarian, I think, or the beast. I think we'll be able to find something a little meatier. Modified paths. Here we go. So right now we're just setting up our board. Since we're coming in raw, this is just literally us just doing this on our first run. So let's go with modified paths, and we'll go with Arcane Archer. For our subclasses remain unchanged from their source content with the following considerations. Arcane Archer, power list. There will be powers that you gain. There's 10 powers that are added to your list, so you gain a total of 20 powers. 16 powers from level 1 to 20. And then you get a stack of 8 more powers, and then you modify 2 powers. So you end up with 24 powers total. So let's go through and set up our scaffolding here. Arcane Archer lore. Although you learn magic theory, it's some secrets of nature, typically the practitioner of a martial tradition. You choose to gain proficiency in either arcane or nature lore, and you choose to learn either prestidigitation or the druid craft cantrips. Neat. Arcane Archer lore, 3rd level. Arcane shot. I have no idea how well these things play with the martial power system right now. We're just kind of reading it raw. So we're just gonna do a spit take on these things and see what needs to happen from there. We know that one D&D is going to change scaffolding, so there's only going to be 3rd, 6th, 10, 14. So some of these features will eventually consolidate, which I will be fine with. Magic arrow. Seventh. Curving shot. What, ever ready shot? Is that accurate? Three, 7, 10, 15, 18. 3, 7. Let's go with that's at 18th. And improved shots. Again, I have no idea how this is going to shake out. Ever ready shot. Let's see, Arcane Lore, Arcane Archer Lore, Arcane Shot, Magic Arrow, Curving Shot, and then a bunch of arrows. Okay. What? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7 types of arrows, huh? Banishing. Is that true? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 7 types of arrows. Okay. So let's see. Let's just do a quick read through of what we're getting into here. And then we'll start kitting stuff out. Arcane Archer studies a unique elven method of archery that weaves magic into attacks to produce supernatural effects. Arcane Archers are some of the most elite warriors among the elves. They stand watch over the fringe of elf domains, keeping a keen eye out for trespassers, and using magic-infused arrows to defeat monsters and invaders. Before they can reach elven settlements, over the centuries, the methods of these elven archers have been learned by members of other races, who can also balance arcane aptitude with archery. So, features equal Arcane Archer Lore, Arcane Shot, Curving Shot, Magical Arrows. Hey, Alan. It's good to see you, my guys. Curving Shot, Magic Arrow, and Arcane Shot. Curving Shot, Magic Arrow, an Arcane Shot. So let's go to here. 7th. These are the class features they're calling out. So these are the features that we are going with. We'll see what we end up with. Oh shit! I gotta set a timer. I've got about an hour left. So let's put an hour timer on the block and work on the Arcane Archer. So what's up? Time for some radical game design that I'll understand 1% of. Well, if you're enjoying the experience, then hopefully it's time well spent, man. So we are taking the martial power system of mana and alternate spell casting, and we are taking the pieces that Arcane Archer provides, seeing how it translates directly into the power system that we already have established, and then seeing what pieces remain outside of what's established that needs to be called out specifically. So we're going to scrape off, basically we're going to scrape off pieces of the Arcane Archer and take those pieces and add it to the list of learned powers. And the rest will keep as features. So you'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 total powers that you learn from level 3 to 13, in addition to all the powers that you just get to choose. So the Arcane Archer is probably going to be filling up most of this power list with various strikes that I suspect the Arcane Archer different types of shots will replicate. So that's my initial thought. And then all this other straggling stuff are what's going to end up filling in the bits. And there may be enough mechanical breadth for us to add in something new. So we'll see what's needed. So I wish Arcane Archer could actually use spells. You know, hey Goblin Lord, it's good to see you, guy. Arcane Archer, can't wait to see how this will be vastly upgraded. Well, I mean, yeah, it isn't crazy to think that the Arcane Archer should be a spellcaster. Using this martial power system, you could go Eldritch Knight and then just take the 16 powers that you can learn as an Eldritch Knight and just simply devote them all to different types of ranged power attacks. So you would be able to just lean into strikes and exploits that key off of archery stuff. And so you'd then be able to cherry pick different spells from level 1 to 4 as you progress from level 3 to 19. And amongst those different skills, different spells, instead just start plucking out different powers, which was the original intention of the Martial Powers Project, to give you martial-focused spell casting, like spell-like effects. So that's the idea of it. So Goblin says, if Arcane Archer could use spells, the lukewarm presentation of the spell shots would be only an annoyance at best rather than a crippling issue. Right, because it is. It's basically a less. What am I trying to say? The Arcane Archer has basically been pigeonholed. Pardon the pun, but it has basically been pigeonholed into a ranged smite character that doesn't have any real options other than spend my resources on alternate smite features that I can shoot people with at a distance, which isn't technically bad. I think the way that they built it would have been better served as a ranged paladin feature. But paladins are locked inside of oaths, so they don't have the creative bandwidth to be able to have subclass features for a paladin that exist outside of a special oath. This would be like what? Oath of the Distant Mockery, or like Oath of I can barely fucking see you, I hope I can hit you. Like, that's the problem with 5e is that they have 13 classes, all that have subclasses that reinforce the limited scope of what their narrative element is. Like in 3rd edition, a prestige class could do something like, if you can gain access to divine smites, taking this prestige class for 10 levels is going to do this to your smites. How you get access to smites and anything else that you have on your character sheet for the other 10 levels that you could acquire in your character is completely up to you. But once you have the ability to access smites and you decide to take Arcane Archer, this is all the stuff that's going to happen to your smite ability. Like that is how 3rd edition approached fleshing out and making you expanding unique character mechanics. They weren't concerned, like the identity of the class wasn't very much defined by its class features. It was more defined about what is its role-playing personality type. Like a paladin in 3rd edition wasn't a protection or a smite bot. It was a holy warrior that had access to divine magic. Do with that what you want. Like, it was a lot more ambiguous and open-ended that way. So you could take any aspect of the paladin, if there was any mechanical detail or any role-playing detail that you liked, you could then zoom in and blow that out to a 3, 5, or 10 level subclass that you could buy into as fast as your stats would let you, gain access to like a +3 proficiency bonus, the ability to smite, and I don't know, like cast divine, Crusader's Mantle, for instance. Like if you had those 3 features, then you could buy into Divine Smite Specialist, and then there you go. But that's a big difference between 3 and 5e design. So like the idea of an Arcane Archer really fits the mechanics of a paladin, but it's not structured to be a paladin at all. Thus, it just gets relegated to the fighter, which can't really make good use of what the spell-like abilities are that the Arcane Archer provides. Dumping it into a hybrid spellcasting pool of a paladin where I could either do my normal smites, or if I'm taking the Arcane Archer, I now have the ability to smite at range to do these very specific effects with each smite arrow that I use. But that's a path that 5e cannot take, because all of the identity of a paladin is bound into its subclass. So unless you build out an Oath of Arcane Archers, which I guess you could, Oath of the Arcane Archer just sounds kind of stupid. Anyway, I'm rambling. PRCs are fucking badass, man. That's the one thing that really excites me about 1D&D is them standardizing the subclass scaffolding so that you've got the 3, 6, 10, 14 that lets you theoretically build in prestige classes or Strixhaven classes that can hyper-focus on a specific mechanical aspect of whatever a class is, and then just have any class that would qualify for that Strixhaven thing get into it. So it's an alternate. It's not as good as prestige classes, but it also requires less thinking. And Wizards is proving that they don't want to think anymore. I don't think they find it profitable to invest energy in thinking things through. So they don't. But that's me throwing serious shade as usual. So let's get back on task and see what we can do to this guy. So Arcane Archer lore, 3rd level. That's our beginning. You learn magical theory or some of the secrets of nature. You can choose to gain proficiency in either Arcana or Nature. And you know what? Honestly, I'm fine with leaving lore as it is. I'm cool with you having Prestidigitation or Druid Craft. I'm cool with you having Arcana or Nature as a skill. It's starting to inform the flavor of how this thing works. So honestly, I'm okay with that. Catching up. Oath of the I'm not a ranger, I swear. Oath of this is a long shot. So Arcane Shot. 3rd level, you learn to unleash special magical effects from some of your shots. When you gain this feature, you learn 2 Arcane Shot options of your choice. See the Arcane Shot options below. Once per turn, when you fire an arrow from a bow as part of the attack action, you can apply one of your Arcane Shot options to that arrow. You decide to use the option when the arrow hits the creature, unless the option doesn't involve an attack roll. You have 2 uses of this ability, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a short or long rest. So your 3rd level, you basically get 2 uses, you basically get 2 smites, and then you don't get any more smites until you finish a short rest or better. You gain additional Arcane Shot options of your choice when you reach certain levels, 7, 10, 15, 18. Each option also improves when you become an 18th. Each option also improves when you become an 18th level fighter. Okay, we'll build a scaffold for that. So let's build our scaffold real quick. Arcane Shots. 3, 7, 10, 15, 18. Level. I suspect I'll be able to throw this entire thing away once we suss it out. But shots. We start with 2. Once per turn, you fire arrow. It's attack. You gain an additional Arcane Shot option when you choose this reach level. It's 7th or 10th and 15th. 2, 3, 4, 5. Fuck you. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is that right? Oh, 6 options. So how many times do we actually get to use it? You gain the ability to infuse arrows with curving shot, ever ready shot, arcane shot. Where's my scaffold? Once per turn, unless the option says otherwise, you gain an additional arcane shot option of your choice. At 3, 7, 10, 15. Okay, so shots, types. Types, shots. 2 arcane option shots once per turn. Part of the attack. You can apply one of the attack. You have 2 uses of this ability. So we'll go with uses. It starts with 2. What does it upgrade to? Something you gain the ability to infuse arrows with magic. Whenever you fire a non-magical arrow from a short bow, you can make it magical for the purposes of overcoming resistance and immunity to non-magical attacks and damage. The magic fades in the arrow immediately after it hits or misses the target. Okay. Okay, arrows become magic. +1 known. Curving shot. Sorry, I'm kind of skipping around a little bit. You learn how to direct an errant arrow towards a new target when you make an attack roll with a magic arrow and miss. When you make an attack with a magic arrow and miss, you can use a bonus action to re-roll the attack roll against a different target within 60 feet of the original target. When you make an attack roll with a magic arrow and miss, you can use a bonus action to re-roll the attack roll against a different target. Magic arrow with a magic arrow. 7th level, you gain the ability to infuse arrows with magic whenever you fire a non-magical piece of short bow ammo, magical for the purpose of overcoming resistance and immunity to non-magical attacks and effects. The magic fades from the arrow immediately after it hits. Wow, curving shot's fucking tight. So, yeah, no change. That's actually really good. It's a bonus action. You get to reroll. You get to hit another target. It's not awesome. It's not horrible though. Bonus action. You know what? Fuck you. Let's do this instead. Instead, let's do this instead. When you make an attack roll with a magic and miss, you can use a reaction to roll the attack roll against a different target within 60 feet. I'm good. I think using that as a reaction is better than a bonus action. Bonus action is I'm initiating something. Reaction is literally reacting to something that's happened. Curving shot is specifically telling us that you are reacting to the fact that you missed your own shot. You automatically have magic ammunition every time you fire an arrow because of the magic arrow feature. Magic arrow feature, choose one type of damage you can enchant. You know, I'm going to reword that feature too. I see text down there. I'll get to you. Just give me a second here to get through my bit. Powers. We know that aside from the various powers that you can learn, that we have, you can learn feats, And you can also acquire damage types. So here's the 10 types of damage that can be acquired. So by 7th level, as a class feature, you can choose an advanced form of damage as a power. Basically, whenever you fire an arrow, it's going to deal this type of damage instead of piercing damage, which would be normal for an arrow. And of course, these are always counted as magical. So I think that's more fun. So choose a damage type. At 7th level, you gain the ability to infuse arrows with magic. Whenever you fire a non-magical arrow, whenever you fire an arrow, just fucking an arrow. Whenever you fire an arrow, from short bow, long bow, you can make it, you can choose one type of damage from the advanced damage type list below, period. Whenever you fire an arrow from a short bow, long bow, you can make it magical for the purpose resistance, and you can make it whenever you fire an arrow from a short bow, you can deal the chosen type. You can deal the chosen type of damage if the attack hits. There. So you're basically getting a freebie damage type. Hey, Dream's going. Let's see. So I wanted to play Ranger for DMs at only one of each class. It's gonna have been a magical. These could have been magical maneuvers for just this class. Yeah, that makes sense. So, okay, great. So Magic Arrow now becomes a damage type, and we know our damage types. So, depending on what your theme is, these are all very useful. The amount of immunities that creatures have against any of these advanced types is nominal. I believe it's like, I want to say like maybe Psychic or Necrotic is the best. Like maybe like 10% of the creatures in the book have some sort of resistance to these types of damage at best. I mean, the basic types, there's a lot of immunities to these types of damage, which is why we're going to offer the advanced form. But the type of damage that you take kind of feeds into the kind of character that you're portraying. If we're going with a Rakdos, or if we're going with a Ravnica theme, right? And we go down to our handy-dandy chart of color themes for Magic the Gathering, we can see that white is related to Radiant, blue, Psychic, black, Necrotic, red, Force, and green, Thunder. And then we can go down further here to look at the guilds of Ravnica and look at, say, Azorius Senate, which has white and blue, which has the advanced damage types of Radiant and Psychic. So if you wanted to play a Ravnica campaign as an Arcane Archer and you wanted to be in the Golgari Swarm, for instance, then you'd have you by default would be devoted to black and green magic, which gives you access to either the Necrotic or Thunder damage. If you're in the Gruul clan, Gruul clan, thank you, which is red and green, that is Force and Thunder. You got green as your Thunders, so you can see Izzet League. Blue and red is Psychic, and why is that not? Force. Thank you. Red is Force. White and green, Radiant, Thunder, Simic, blue and green, Psychic, Thunder, 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 Force, 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 Force. Cult of Arachnos, Force, and Necrotic. There. So you start setting up a theme behind the colors that you're using and the damage type that you're dealing. If we wanted to go with The Last Airbender and go instead with elemental themes, then here are your elemental themes. 20-minute timer, keep it going. Air advances Thunder, Earth is Force, Fire is Radiant, and Water is Psychic. So those are the advanced damage types related to the four basic elements in Western philosophy. Air, Lightning, Earth, Acid, Fire, Fire. This is 3rd edition traditions down here. And water is cold. So you pick an advanced form. If you're doing airbender stuff and you're an Arcane Archer, then going with your chosen element. makes sense for the type of advanced damage. And again, if you're doing color, like if we're going down to, say, Strixhaven, here's your colleges, Lorehold. White and red is Force and Radiant. Prismari, that should be, I don't know why I have Thunder there. It should be Force. There. Blue, green, Psychic Thunder. White, black, Necrotic Radiance. Black, green, Necrotic Thunder. Thank you. That all lines up. And then you got the 15 Gods of Theros with their allocations. There you go. So easy peasy. That's a theme. That resolves the magic arrow effect with a little bit more depth than what the original system was offering to us. Arcane Archer lore, that's good. Arcane Shot is gain 2. You know what? Arcane Shot. At 3rd level, you gain the ranged assault sustained power. Locking this power doesn't count against your max channel limit. So you can spend your point of mana, you can lock this, and you can leave it locked forever, and it doesn't take away from your ability to channel anything else. That is a super cool thematic feature. Like, so the rules that we have, right, is that you can sustain. And well, okay, let's look at that real quick. Let's look at what the ranged assault does. So normally, you can use strike powers with a thrown weapon or melee weapons, not ranged weapons. But if you sustain this power, it's a first rank power. It requires 1 mana for you to channel the power. It works just like a concentration, basically like haste, for instance, is a concentration spell. While you maintain concentration, you can retain control, or you can sustain ranged assault. And here's the cool things that ranged assault does for you. Strikes can be channeled when you hit a target with a thrown weapon at far range instead of normal. Because normally thrown weapons have a range limit of normal range, and you could channel powers up to normal range. If it's far range, it's out of power range. And ranged weapons can't use strikes at all. But with ranged assault, strikes can be channeled when you hit a target with a ranged weapon at normal range. So you can fire an arrow at something at normal range and deal a strike during that process. And you can temporarily create non-magical weapons or ammunition for ranged weapons of your choice while making a thrown or ranged attack, which disappears after finishing the attack. So you can wish ammo into existence, fire it, it hits, and then it disappears. If you're it takes 1 mana to activate this. You have to maintain concentration on it. If you lose concentration, the ability ends. You then have to spend another point of mana and activate it again. If you're a 3rd level character, you can maintain concentration on ranged assault, and then be able to, if you hit somebody, use one of the strike powers that we have. And at 3rd level, you're still channeling 1st rank powers. So, like for instance, freezing strike. When you hit, your weapon can deal cold damage. You add an extra power die of damage. And at 3rd level, let me get to it here. It's, bam, there we go. It's a D6. So, freezing strike. You deal, your weapon deals cold damage, and you add an extra D6 of cold damage on top of it. And the kicker effect is the creature's movement is halved until the end of its next turn. So, while you have ranged assault, while you're sustaining ranged assault, you can make an attack with it, and you could spend a point of mana to deal a freezing strike, which will then deal the extra D6, which upgrades to a D8 at 9th level, and it upgrades to a D10 at 17th level. 1 mana deals cold damage and reduces your target's movement speed to half. So there you go. Alternatively, you could lock this power, and if you lock the ranged assault, the sustained power, you no longer have to maintain concentration on it. So you can't lose concentration of your buff effects. But it reduces the amount of mana that you can use. So if you're only 3rd level and you only have a channel limit of 1 at 3rd level, and you lock 1 mana, then you've reduced your mana to 0. You can't channel any other effects. So what we've done here with this class feature is we give you the one feature for this level, which is you gain ranged assault for free. And when you lock it, it doesn't cost against your ability to channel other powers. So you're basically getting something that no one else can get this feature. It's exclusive to the Arcane Archer, being able to lock ranged assault. Granted, the Ranger has a Ranger fighting skill that's essentially the same thing. There you go. So Arcane Shot is like cheating your way into being a Ranger without having to take Ranger levels. So that's cool. So no changes to that. 3rd level, that's resolved. I'm missing text. Hey guys, just popping in. Hey Creek, it's good to see you, my guy. So far, so good. Arcane Shot. Where does it say I gain more Arcane Shot stuff? Oh, that's right. It's down in the specific features. It tells you down there how much damage it deals. Right. Well, we'll get to you kids then. Hold on. Let's just keep plowing through the features so we can get to the arrows and see how we're going to allocate all those. So let's see. Arcane Shot. +1 known. So we don't really need to keep reiterating Arcane Shot over and over again. 3, 7, 10, 15, 18, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Ranged assault. Locking his power doesn't count against. So I don't need to duplicate Arcane Shot here. Arcane Shot. Arcane Shot. 2, 3, 4. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6. There. Comma. So we're going to have 6 smites. 6 smite spells that we're going to add into this. And that leaves open a bunch of other stuff. I'm cool with that. And then you still have your stack of 16 other powers that you gain on your own. So this class is just racking up a shitload of strike powers, as is flavorful for the Arcane Archer. But then you still have this huge budget of I can do whatever I want, exploits, maneuvers, reactions, or other sustained powers. Plus you get the sustained power for free at 3rd level on top of it. So this is actually a pretty tasty kit. It gives you a shitload of value is basically what it's doing. I am super cool with that. So let's see if I can stay on track here and get this thing done. Modified paths. Modified archetypes. There we go. Okay, that's not going to change. We don't have to worry about that now. 7th level. Change the damage type. We already have that taken care of. So that's an extra. That's another freebie. 7th level, we're now using a reaction to. You get to re-roll your attack roll for free as a reaction. You can use a reaction to re-roll the attack targeting to re-roll the attack targeting to re-roll, comma, attacking a different target within 60 feet of the original target. There. And that's for free. Basically, anytime that you want. But there has to be multiple opponents. And it eats your reactions. That's not horrible. Arcane Shot, which we already have. So, I guess 10th level Arcane Shot, you don't get anything? Question mark? I mean, you've already got so much value built into the class already that I'm okay with you not getting anything else, but yeah, it completely just skips it. Okay. At 15th and then 18th gets skipped too. Jesus. Improved shots. Wow. Okay. No changes there. Nothing there. Wow, this is actually really flimsy. Okay, there we go. Every shot at 15th level, your magical archery is available whenever battle starts. You roll initiative, have no uses. Arcane Shot remaining. You regain 1 use of it. You regain 1 use of it. What? Hold on. Does it stay forever at fucking 2 shots and that's it? That doesn't improve, does it? That's wow. That's freaking wow. Am I crazy, guys? Like, you only ever get... No wonder I skipped this when I read it first time. God, what a train wreck. Twice, huh? And you regain all expanded uses when you finish a short or long rest. You gain additional Arcane Shot options. And each option improves. Wow, you only get 2 per short rest? That's complete crap. Wow, okay, so I am reading that correctly. It just stopped being an arcane. Wow, GTFO, man. Okay. Well, we already have a mana system that's going to give you a fuck ton of mana. Let's take a quick look at how fucking sweet the fighter. Oh no, that's the arcane. That's the martial champion. The martial champion is way sweeter than the Arcane Archer is. Okay, great, but we can steal something from this. Let's see. There's Channel of Vitality. We built the martial champion archetype, which is its own subclass, separate from everything else, and it really leans into the mechanics of both the martial powers channeling system and the fighter specifically. So here's cool crap that the fighter gets. 3rd level. When you use Second Wind, you also gain a number of spent mana equal to the maximum rank of power gained as a fighter, up to 5. So if you go from level 1 to 17 as a fighter, whenever you take a Second Wind, you get 5 points of mana back. And you max out at 20 mana at 20th level. So that's a super sweet deal. And you have a limit on how much Second Wind you get automatically. So that limits your range of power onto itself. At 10th level, however, you also get whenever you use an action surge, you get 3 points of temporary mana until the end of that action surge. The amount of temporary mana you gain this way increases to 5 points at 20th level, and any temporary mana that remains at the end of the turn is lost. So when you take action surge, you get a dollop of free mana to be able to power different channel effects while you're taking that action surge. If you took the action surge to do more powerful things, this is going to give you that extra bit of juice. The Second Wind is allowing you to recover juice. So I'm thinking, God, that's all the way up at 15th level, and other cool stuff. Attack maneuvers. That's not relevant. Overpowering strike at 18th level. Locked mana doesn't reduce the max rank of strike powers you can channel, so you can sustain up to 5 rank. You can sustain 5 ranks of sustained powers, just like a wizard could sustain a 9th level concentration spell and still throw like an 8th or 7th or 6th or whatever level spell. It's the if you're maintaining concentration, it doesn't get in the way of your mana or spell casting at all, as the system is intended. It's when you lock a power so that you can't lose concentration on it. That's when it reduces the maximum rank of power that you can have. And that's a completely optional, that's just an option. If you don't want to mess around with having to make constitution saves, lock all of your mana. If you lock your mana, it reduces the amount of mana you can otherwise use. So if you can normally channel up to 3rd rank powers and you lock 2 of those channels to have a sweet sustained effect, you can now only channel 1 extra point of mana for like a 1st rank strike or like a 1st rank exploit, or like roll 1 die to modify your stealth check as opposed to like 3 or 4. So it's it curves your power, but it adds stability. If you purchase these sustained powers and just turn them on and then lock them first thing when you wake up, you don't have to think about your mana for the rest of the day unless a wizard hits you with a dispel. And then you just got to lock them all back in and you're good to go. But if you want to recycle your power and churn through mana, you have to leave those channels unlocked so that mana can move through those channels for you to be able to empower all these strikes and stuff. So that is strictly an option for you. People that don't want to fuck around with a mana pool but love having options could buy a bunch of feats, damage types, and just pick from the sustained power list and just lock them and forget about it. But if you want to fuck around with your mana pool and risk reward, you can leave your channels open, still sustain those 5 ranks of concentration effects. Your DC is going to be a DC 15 or half damage taken, whichever is higher, which is worse than normal concentration effects of a DC 10 or half damage. So it's going to be, and it's going to trigger off of strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma saving throws. Anytime you make a saving throw, the result of that saving throw is compared against your current concentration DC. If I'm maintaining 5 ranks of power for a shitload of buffs, my DC is going to be a 15. If I all of a sudden have to make an intelligence saving throw and I roll a 12, then all 5 of my mana gets dumped. I lose all of my powers, and now I have to spend 5 actions reactivating all those buff effects. If I locked all of them, then I wouldn't have the ability to use mana at all anymore, but I'd still be able to use feats and stuff like that. Anyway, so we could pilfer from this list to add to our Arcane Archer as a benefit. And I would say Channeled Vitality is a good one. Since this is a fighter archetype, anytime you use Second Wind, there you go. So let's go with Ever Ready Shot. At 3rd level, when you use Second Wind, you can also regain a number of spent mana equal to the max rank of power gained as a fighter. At 15th level, that will be 4. So whenever you use Second Wind as a 15th level Arcane Archer, you can regain 4 of your 15 mana. That is sweet value. And that's the full list. Okay. So just having a mana pool instead of it's two times per day is automatically just so much better than what the Arcane Archer was. Just tacking it onto the Eldritch Knight stack. But let's look at our damage thresholds here. What kind of damage do these things do? Banishing Arrow. Oh man, that's grand. Let's just grab all of these. And then let's go into our list of strikes. Take this one back to the top and take this one and pull this down into the strike list. There's like 20 some odd strikes that we have, so I'm sure we're gonna find something. If we find an arcane, a magic shot option that isn't covered by our list of strike powers, we'll consider either adding that strike power or making it unique to the Arcane Archer. We'll see. But ultimately, what happens here is instead of gaining the specific list of powers that or of arrows that they have listed here, instead, whenever you whenever you 3rd level, you get just like any other spellcasting class, you get your unique list, right? So, oh god, yeah, I've got 25 minutes left. That's awesome. You get your 2 first, 2 second, 2 third, 2 fourth, and 2 fifth level spells, right? But with the Arcane Archer having 7 types of shots, well, we could just Arcane Shot. We're going to buff out the power list with all the shots that they would normally get. There you go. And then we already gave them range assault sustained power for free. So they're technically getting 3 powers at 3rd level. 17th level, yeah, sure, let's just leave it like that. So let's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's see. Sharpshooter feat. Of course we're going to take the sharpshooter feat. That just makes sense. Let's take a look at our feat list. You go down here, past all the powers that cost mana. Instead of learning a power, you can just learn a feat. Or learn a damage type we were talking about. Here's the list of feats that you can learn. And blip, blip, bloop, sharpshooter. We should probably take that. Piercer's not a bad one too. That's potential. But let's look at all the strikes. So, man, the feature could be called Flurry of Maneuvers. Hey, Ornetico, it's good to see you. Flurry of Maneuvers. Yeah, man. The people I see play Arcane Archer's skill their shots uses off proficiency bonus or int mod per shot rest. Yeah, that makes more sense. So it really works out well enough. Yeah, I mean, almost all of 5e, 1D&D playtesting is going into that PB power resource direction. So that's certainly in curve with where the world is going. 9% of the people see Arcane Archer. Let's see. Oh yeah. We're looking at strikes. So what are our strikes? Banishing arrow, beguiling arrow, bursting arrow, enfeebling arrow, grasping arrow, piercing arrow, seeking arrow, shadow arrow. That's it. Banishing arrow. You use abjuration magic to try to temporarily banish your target to a harmless location in the Feywild. Okay. The creature hit by the arrow must also succeed a charisma saving throw or be banished. All right. While banished in this way, the target's speed is 0. It is incapacitated. I am a big fan of that. At the end of its next turn, the target... Oh, it automatically reappears at the end of the space vacated by it or nearest unoccupied space if that space is occupied. After 18th level in this class, the target also takes 2d6 force damage when the arrow hits it. Okay, well, we have a banishing strike. It's not 1st rank, it's 4th. So it's high-end shit. Banishing strike. Your damage increases by 1 power die per mana burned at 4th level. Or, sorry, 4th rank. You gain 4th rank at 13th level. You're rolling a D8 power die at this point. By 17th, it'll upgrade to a D10. So 4th rank is 13th level. So that means that we wouldn't have access to Banishing Strike until... Yes, that comes in a lot. I could see somebody taking Banish. I have heard this. I've never actually had somebody play an Arcane Archer at my table in the past X years. But I do know that Banishing Strike is that 3rd level low-hanging fruit that people will dip into Fighter to grab hold of just so that they can banish shit, which is a big game, which can be a big game changer, but it only banishes them for 1 round, and they automatically, if they fail their charisma saving throw, they're banished. So the way that Banishing Strike here works, it'll cost you 4 mana to do it, sure. But it'll deal 1 power die per mana burned, which is going to be 4 8-sided dice worth of damage that you're going to deal. The creature must make a charisma saving throw. It's still a charisma saving throw, or be banished and incapacitated, which stays consistent with the language that they use. By the way, your move automatically drops to 0 if you're incapacitated. I don't know if Wizards knew that or not. The creature makes another save at the end of each of its turns, ending the effect if it's successful. There's no end to this effect. You hit them with it, and they're gone for as long as they can't save. It's pretty straightforward. There you go. Add language about reappearing same space or next avail. Period. Shut. So Banishing Strike totally works. It'll do your arrow damage plus an extra 4d8. At this point, you're dealing whatever type of damage that you want. So it could be psychic, it could be force, it could be necrotic, radiant, or just good old-fashioned piercing damage. And if it's good old piercing damage, you've got piercer feat to help back you up on what you're doing with that. But of course, you also have the sharpshooter feat, which gives you the -5/+10. Bob's your uncle. So that takes care of the banishing arrow. Get out of my face. Beguiling arrow. Your enchantment, your enchantment magic causes this arrow. I have enchantment magic, and apparently I use it to cause this arrow to temporarily beguile my target. The creature hit by the arrow takes an extra 2d6 psychic damage. Okay. And this is and chooses one of your allies within 30 feet of it. The target must succeed a wisdom saving throw, or it is charmed by the chosen ally until the start of the next turn. This effect ends early if the chosen ally attacks the charmed target, deals damage to it, or forces it to make a saving throw. Increases to 4d6 at 18th level. 18th level, we could do 5 dice for 10 each for a total of 5d10 damage, plus the kicker effect, plus your normal arrow damage, plus sharpshooter if you want to make it piercing. So that's a good smite. But this is beguiling arrow. I think I have a beguiling. Do I have a beguiling arrow? No. Ooh. Let's see. Okay, beguiling. Let's check the rest of these things to make sure we know what we're doing. Bursting arrow, an imbue and to draw an arrow vacation, and the energy detonates after the attack. Immediately after the arrow hits the creature, the target and all creatures within 10 feet of it takes 2d6 force damage. The force damage increases to 46 at 18th level. Okay. Bursting arrow. I have a bursting strike. Your damage increases by 1 power die per mana burned, which is 3. And when you gain this at 9th level, that's 8. So that's 3d8 as opposed to 4d6. It's the same damage type. 4d6 equals 3d8. So we're doing good. Bursting strike. 3rd rank equals a minimum of 9th level, dealing d8s. So this is going to be a 9th level acquisition. Bursting strike. Increases by 1 power die per mana burned. And again, it's not defining the damage type here. That's up to you. Whether it's piercing, or if you're throwing an axe, it's slashing damage, or if you're throwing a rock, then it's bludgeoning damage, or if you've picked up a damage type, it's whatever that is. All creatures within 10 feet of the creature hit other than you also take damage equal to the result of the power dice. Ooh, not the actual core damage, but the power dice dealt. That's tight. So at 3rd rank, that's 3d8, and at 18th level, it's 5d10. So when I pop this for 3 mana, I deal the weapon damage and the power dice damage. That power dice damage is then dealt to everybody within 10 feet. Each creature must make a dexterity saving throw to reduce damage to half. That's fair. Let's see. So that's bursting strike. And that takes care of bursting strike here. Let's see. There is enfeebling strike. So necromantic magic, arrow, hits, extra damage, 2d6 necrotic damage. Okay. And then it upgrades to 46 necrotic at 18th. Okay. So we're outpacing damage on stuff in general, which is good because you need the damage. You need damage in this game. The target must also succeed a Constitution saving throw, or the damage dealt by its weapon attack is half. What? You weave necrotic magic in the arrow. The creature hit by the arrow takes an extra 2d6 necrotic damage. The target must also succeed a Constitution saving throw, or the damage dealt by its weapon attacks is halved. Oh, by its weapon attacks. Got it. If it fails its Constitution saving throw, its attacks are nerfed until the start of its next turn. Really? You can only do that twice per fucking short rest? Jesus, I don't know if I have something comparable to that. I mean, I've got Stun Strike and Paralyzing Strike. That's a thing that kind of stops all damage being dealt. But I don't think that's what they meant. This is a nerfing strike. I don't think I have a nerfing strike. Radiant damage. Target is blinded. What about maneuvers? Is there an interesting maneuver or a reaction? Let's check my reactions real quick. It's immune to damage. There's a footwork, downtrotting, feint, fortitude, interpose, punish, curse, moving target, one's own luck, opt, stolen fate, anchor, countering attack, defense barrier, hexproof, rider revival. Huh. I don't think I have a direct translation for that. Double strike, flicker pounce, TK bubble, wave of terror, incapacitator, paralyze. Crucious Seed makes a saving throw against your powers with disadvantage. Vanish Scissor, Resuscitate, Restraining Hold, Healing Radiance, Goad, Flatten, Distract. No reaction. Coordinated Attack, Brand Axiom. You see a 30 feet of my wisdom throw. If the save succeeds, you can sense the creature's affected by any illusions. Powered Synergy, First Strike, Hypertunistic, Assassination, Unstoppable, Ride the Wind, Precise Attack, Phase Attack, Coordinated, Tactical Assessment, Swift Tools, Subtle Channeling, Sage Knowledge, Resilient. Making a saving throw, you can, Proselytizer, no, Range Strike. Natural Hunter. Yeah, I don't think this has a direct translation. Do I want to bother? Do I want to add this as a feature? Do I want to add this as a power that I've missed the opportunity to use? Or do I want to replace this with something else? Okay, well, if I were to ignore that and use a different strike, what strike would I use? It's a beguiling effect. Nom 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 nom. How about delusional strike? Your weapon can deal psychic damage and adds 1 power die per mana burned. Third rank, that's going to be 3d8. The creature must make a wisdom saving throw or be confused, as per the spell description. The creature can attempt to end this effect at the end of each of its turns by succeeding a wisdom saving throw. Thank you, Roll20. Creature uses all of its movement. Okay. This is Beguiling Arrow, and Feebling Arrow I don't have a direct translation for yet. I got a lot of these to do. Okay, Beguiling Arrow. Let's do this. 1. 3. Doesn't. Creature doesn't move or take actions this turn. Creature uses all its movement to move in a random direction. Roll a d8 to choose which way. Let's go with 1 to 2. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, that way. One, two, three, four. I'll explain what I'm doing here in a second. There. Okay, so this is, what is this? Confusing Strike? Oh, let's go find it. Fuck. Come on, baby. Where you at? Danku. There we go. Delusional Strike. Delusional Strike is 3rd rank. So let's push Banishing Strike to 17th, and let's go with Delusional Strike. Delusional Strike. Comma. Okay, so this is how this works. It's a 3rd rank power, so you don't get it until 9th level, which means you're automatically throwing a d6 power die, but it eventually upgrades to a d10. So when you make an attack roll with this power, or when you deal damage with this power, going back to what it says, Delusional Strike, your weapon can deal psychic damage and add 1 power die per mana burn. You're gonna burn 3 mana using this power, which means you're gonna throw either 3d10 or 3d8, depending on which level you are. The creature must make a wisdom saving throw or be confused. The creature can attempt to end this effect at the end of each of its turns by succeeding a saving throw. So you're either going to have a d8 or you're going to have a d10. So if you're throwing a d8 on a 1 or 2, it acts normally. On a 3 or 4, it's going to use all its movement to go in a random direction. 5 or 6, it's going to make a melee attack against a random creature within reach. And 7 or 8, the creature doesn't move or take any actions. But when we upgrade our damage die, when we upgrade our damage, when we upgrade our power die to a d10, that means on a 7, 8, 9, or 10, on a delusional strike, the creature isn't going to take any action or move at all. So you're gaining value out of the probabilities of it because you're keying the random results to the die roll of the power die that you're using. So it gains added value. There's probably a ton of stuff I can do just in general with this as a mechanic. If you have a power die that's tied to a success or a failure result, then like if I were to like say when I make an attack, roll a power die, and if I hit, consult the result of the power die to the following table. And like that could be like, I don't know, if you were to do like hit tables, right? Like if you like have a critical hit table, like if, like on a 1 through like on a 1 you hit their head, or like on a 10, on a 1 you hit their tummy and they start bleeding. On a 10 you hit their head and they die. Right? You wouldn't be able to have access to a result of 10 until you get to 17th level. So you can't one-shot stuff until you can roll a 10 on a power die, which would be a D10, obviously, which you won't have access to until 17th level. So like that's one way you can manipulate the dice using that. I don't have any real features that lean into that yet. But now that it's now that it's on the table and it exists, I'm kind of thinking about it. So that resolves Beguiling Arrow, which is the delusional strike, and it continues to suffer from this effect until it can succeed the Wisdom saving throw at the end of each of its rounds. So 1 round, you're going to hit it, it's going to fail its save, it's affected. At the end of the round, it can attempt to end the effect again. I need to fix that. Be confused as per the spell description. If the spell fails, it's saved. Compare the results. The creature can attempt to end this effect at the end of each of its turns by succeeding a saving throw. And the creature is confused as per the spell description. Period. Compare the results of the highest power die rolled to the table below. There you go. The creature can attempt to end the effect at the end of each of its turns by succeeding. Okay, so you hit him. He's automatically going to be confused for 1 round. At the end of that round, he could succeed the check. If he fails, then his reactions are still out, and he won't be able to try again until the end of his next round. So, I'm happy with that. And there's always a chance that you're not going to have any effect even when you hit. So, there is that chance. I'm happy with that. I'm actually very happy with that. Okay, so now there's the Enfeebling Arrow, which nerfs the damage dealt. Let's skip that one for now. Grappling Arrow. Poisonous Brambles, a wrap around the target. Okay, we have a grappling strike. Let's go find it. Grappling strike is melee only. Life stealing, intimidate, restraint. There it is. Restrained strike. You damage deals per mana. Target is restrained until it succeeds a strength threat at the end of each of its turns. So that's cool. Restraining strike, and that is a 2nd, which comes online at 5th. Perfect. Restraining strike. What else you got? Give your arrow ethereal quality. When you use this option, you don't make an attack roll for the attack. Instead, the arrow shoots forward in a line, which is a 1 foot wide, 30 foot long. Before disappearing, the arrow passes harmlessly through objects, ignoring cover. Each creature in that line must make a dexterity saving throw. On a failed save, a creature takes damage as if it were hit by the arrow, plus an extra d6 piercing damage. On a successful save, it is half damage because it's no attack roll. Piercing damage is 2d6 at higher levels. Interesting. Let's see. Okay. No, I don't have a strike that turns it into a line effect. But shunt, lift, generate pack tactics phase. You become incorporeal. No. Goad, flatten, distract, curse, brand, maneuvers. Strikes. Phase attack. There we go. When you make an attack roll against a target with less than full cover, you can ignore the cover and attack with advantage if you can see the target. So that jives. Hunter, overrun, ground fighting, inquisitor, ground fighting, field medic, instant attack, charge. Yeah, let's give him phase attack. That's an exploit. Seeking Arrow. Using Divination Magic, you grant your arrow the ability to seek out a target. When you use this option, you don't make an attack roll for the attack. Instead, choose one creature you've seen in the past minute. The arrow flies towards that creature, moving around corners if necessary and ignoring 3/4 cover or half cover if the target is within the weapon's range and there's a path large enough for the arrow to travel to the target. The target must make a dexterity saving throw against the arrow disappearing after traveling as far as it can. The target takes damage as if it were hit by the arrow, plus an extra force damage. That's actually kind of cool. Now I'm thinking I want to keep Piercing Arrow. This would be... Huh. All right. I'm kind of digging Seeking Arrow. Seeking Arrow doesn't miss, basically. Is that what it's saying? If necessary, and ignoring 3/4 of half cover, the target is within weapon's range, and there's a path large enough for the arrow to travel to the target. The target must make a saving throw. Dexterity saving throw. There you go. Dex save or miss. We could do that. There's also Precise Strike, which is you can make an attack roll with advantage and roll 1 power die per mana channeled, adding the highest roll to your result. So at second level, that's fifth level, second rank is a D6. So you roll with advantage and you add a D6 to the die roll if it hits. I'm happy with that. Straining Strike, Phase Attack, Precise Attack. So we'll get rid of that. Shadow Arrow, Illusion Magic. Oculates to occlude your foe's vision with shadows. The vision hits, strikes, psychic damage, succeed, wisdom saving, and unable to see. That's Blinding Strike. Oh, that's Blinding Strike. Okay, so let's see. I know that Blinding Strike exists. Let's go find it. Blinding Strike. Your weapon can deal radiant damage and adds 1 power die per mana burned. In addition, the creature is blinded. The creature can attempt to end this effect at the end of each of its turns by succeeding a Constitution saving throw. Be unable to see anything further than 5 feet away until the start of its next turn. Yeah, fuck you. Blindness is better. So Shadow Arrow is gone. Blinding Strike is in. Where do we put you? Blinding Strike is 2nd rank. Oof, man. We are loaded up on stuff. So, okay, great. Let's go with Bursting Strike there. We'll go with Blinding Strike here. This list is writing itself. Boy, oh boy. So we have the phase attack and precise attack. That takes care of Piercing Arrow. And then Enfeebling Arrow, which nerfs damage. Let's see. I feel like there's something that's good enough. I don't know. Am I cheapening the experience by finding other powers that are potentially better than but different from the arrows, or should I be translating the arrows directly as a special thing that they get? I kind of like just borrowing off the list in general without having to add anything else to it, but I'm not opposed to going back and just adding those special effects as just things that they get at that level. Let's see. Stolen Fate, moving target. I don't think any of these reactions are proper. Wave of Terror, Incapacitator, TK Bubble, Flicker Pounce, Double Strike, Lift, Shunt. Regenerate, Pack Tactics, Phase. Ooh. Target you can see within 30 feet makes a charisma saving throw equals fail equals no move or bonus action until it succeeds at the end of each of its turns. Nah. Curse Brand. You curse a target you can see to make saving throws against your powers with disadvantage. The effect ends when the creature succeeds a saving throw. Restraining Hold, Rally Ability, Healing Goad, Flatten, Distract. See to reduce the result of all attack rolls by the highest roll of 1 power die per mana burned. The creature makes an intelligence saving throw at the end of each turn. Curse the Metal Mind. You curse a creature you see to roll ability check and concentration checks with disadvantage. The creature makes an intelligence saving throw to end the effect when it succeeds. First creature you see, 30 feet, Wisdom, save, succeeds, sense creatures affected by illusions. Meh. Swift Attunement, Ride the Wind, Precise Attack, Phase Attack, Cooperative Effort, Veterinary Training, Under Focus. When you make an ability check and use the Intimidation skill or while rolling, determine if you maintain concentration, roll 1 power die per mana channeled. Adding the highest result to your result. Tactical Assessment, Swift Tool, Subtle Channeling. When you channel a power, there is no visual evidence of your source of power. Sage Knowledge, Resilient, Range Strike, Proselytizer, Practice Charlatan, Natural Hunter, Overrun, Inquisitive. Charge, Ambush, Adept. Huh. I don't have anything other than Burst Attack. Not Enfeebling. That can deal or the damage dealt by the weapon attack is halved. That feels like, what level is 5e feeble innervate? Fifth level. Target takes damage, automatically deals more damage, spell's range, total effect, not the same. Is there an effect someplace that halves damage otherwise? This sounds like this actually sounds like a pretty good thing to make as just a maneuver, like a curse. Curse of enfeeblement would probably be a good way to go with that. We got curses, folks. Where are we at on our list? How'd you get so full? 1, 2. What do I want to do with that last bit? I could push. Go with those feats at 3rd level because they're free. So they're always useful. That's super useful. Restraining strike, phase strike, blinding strike. Let's go with, that is useful, so let's use it. 2nd rank feels right. Now, honestly, that should be 3rd. Hacky, but it works. Maneuver. Maneuvers can be, you can use a maneuver as either an action that replaces your attacks, or / and a bonus action. So you could technically use Curses of Enfeeblement on 2 targets in the same turn. Once as a bonus action, another as a normal action. But you wouldn't be able to make any attacks unless you had a reaction that allowed for an opportunity attack. It's expensive, but I think it fits in. 3rd level, 3rd rank, 9th level, that sounds appropriate. Hit a creature, it has to succeed. Yeah, I'm good with strength because it's enfeeblement. There we go. Okay, I think we're good then. So we'll get this out of the way. Clear this out. Don't save. All right, that's our time. Perfect timing. I gotta go. My lunch is over. So that kits out the Arcane Archer. So congratulations. Here's your power list. You get 16 powers beyond this. The biggest choke point for you is always going to be mana, of course. Piercer, Sharpshooter, Restraining, Delusional Strike, Bursting Strike. Okay, Archer. Range Assault, 7th level. Gain a free damage type. Curving Shot, reaction lets you hit another target instead of the one that you missed. Ever Ready Shot. At 15th level, when you use Second Wind, you also regain a number of spent mana equal to the max rank of power gained as a fighter, which is 4. So you get 4 extra mana back every time you take Second Wind. Not bad. Okay, guys, that's it for today. When we come back, I don't know what we're gonna do next. I guess I'll just roll a random die. I'm building out the barbarian, fighter, and rogue archetypes using these power paradigms, using the same system that we just did. So you can see down here in the rogue, we have the martial trickster class, subclass specifically, but we also have the modified archetypes. We did the assassin last week without any need to change any of the features from it. And we had already done the monk with all of its monastic traditions modified. I should probably get you guys a read-only link to this Google Doc. I'm gonna play nice with you guys. Let's increase that to 16. There. All right, that's it for this week. We're going to be back next week, and we're going to do this again. When the Spelljammer Combat and Exploration book is done, then the Eberron book, Crystals of Mabar, the adventure that we are building, that will become our primary project, which we will stream Monday through Saturdays in the mornings, which means that the Martial Powers project will advance from once a week on Tuesday to Monday and Thursday night. And then our Tuesday lunch will change to something else, probably Dragonlance. Probably Dragonlance Adventure Design. So that's probably what we'll be doing from there. But it's going to be another month or two before we're done with spells with the Spelljammer Combat and Exploration book. But as soon as it's done, then our entire pipeline advances. I'm excited about that. So once the Eberron adventure is done, we should have all of these subclasses resolved, all the language for the powers that we've been using resolved, and have it off to the editor to get chewed on and come back to us. So once the Eberron adventure is actually done and gone, the Martial Powers project will advance to our primary, and we'll be working on that Monday through Saturday in the mornings. Dragonlance will advance to Mondays and Thursday evenings, and I don't know what we'll do with Tuesdays yet. Maybe Guilds and Kingdoms. And then once the Martial Powers is off our plate, then Dragonlance becomes our Monday through Saturday project. Guilds and Kingdoms advances to Mondays and Thursday nights. And fuck, I don't know. Maybe we'll just do like random crap for all this stuff on our Tuesday lunches. I don't know yet. We're getting that. I'm not that far down the pipeline, so I'm not sure what else is going to be out there, and I don't know. And by then, one D&D will be out, so we'll probably actually just be doing conversion stuff into the new system. But yeah, that's it for today. Yeah, thanks a lot. I'm glad. I'll be back in the morning. Hopefully catch you guys there. Thanks a lot, Alan, for showing up. Netico, King, Goblin, Dreams, Tyler. I appreciate all you guys. Thanks a lot. I will see you on the other side. Cheers.